Hello, Ben here again for the Week 12 video on David Zurin's book, The Kaepernick Effect. And for the first one, for, in my own words, how do I define the Kaepernick Effect? I basically think that it's kind of the chain reaction set off by Colin's protest against police brutality and systematic racism back in 2016. And it shows us how his actions sparked activism at all levels of the game, including high school, college, and professional. And it showed us that today's athletes hold the power to bring communities together. And I also think another way that you could view the Kaepernick effect is what can happen to Black and minority athletes when they try to challenge the status quo. And for the second one, just some examples of protests and activism that have occurred at different levels of the game. At the high school level, he talked about the football players, and I think it's Beaumont, Texas. They kneeled before the game, quietly and respectfully. The students, they got backlash from the community, including threats and parents from the school, administrators, local authorities, things like that, what you would expect protesting those types of issues in a small town in Texas. At the college level, Zurin talked about the cheerleaders at Howard, which is a HBCU, and they did the same thing that Kaepernick did. They kneeled during the anthem. They received support from people around them, but also they had faced criticism mainly from outside the university. And then at the professional level, Zurin talked about Megan Rapinoe, who's now a former player for the U.S. national women's team for soccer. She also kneeled, kind of standing with Kaepernick. She faced backlash, including being left off rosters, bad press, and people were also more mad in this case because she was supposed to be representing the national team. So people felt like she was directly protesting the country as a whole in a way. And for the final one, I think that Zurin's main point is while people look at sports and want them to be as far away from politics as possible, there are themes and notes in sports that are very in line with like societal issues that are going on, and that sports in a way is almost like a smaller version of what is happening in society. Like all the issues that we see happening in life also happen in sport on a much smaller scale. And as far as relevance to now, March 2023, whatever, this idea, is still very prevalent. We saw with George Floyd, everything that came with that. I know that's a little bit further in the past, but it still carries over. And I would say that I agree with Zurin's point. I would say 5 or so years ago, I would have said I want the politics out of the sport, but now that I can see, how big the stage is and how many people listen to athletes and how big of an impact their words can have on people, I don't think that these things should be separated, and I actually think it's a good thing that we see all these issues through the lens of sports.